This is multi-step problem number 3, and it's a story problem. I'm going to make use of my highlighter this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the thickest choice, and then I'm going to change the opacity so it's a lot lighter so I can just color over the number. And I'm going to use yellow to represent the positive values and red to represent the negative values. So let's go ahead and read this. And we're going to read this twice, and we're going to highlight the positive values first, and then I'm going to read it again and then highlight the negative values in red. So Mark starts out with $12 in his bank account. So that's positive. So I'm going to color that with this yellow color. So $12 in his bank account. He buys a video game for $20. So that's going to be a negative because he's spending his money. So think about it with Mark, he's losing $20 in a sense because he's spending it on a video game. Since he overdrafted his account, he is charged a $15 overdraft fee. Overdraft means that, well, he didn't have enough money in his account. So he only had $12 in his account and he spent $20. So he overdrafted it. Basically, he took money from the bank that was not his money. It was the bank's money. So it's like he was borrowing money. So the bank charges him a fee of $15. So that's going to be a negative towards Mark. So that will not be yellow. Then it says he mows 2 neighbors' lawns and earns $18 per lawn. So that's a positive. So I'm going to mark that as a positive. He deposits this money into his account. How much money is in John's account now? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over to the red, and I'm going to mark our 2 red items. So he buys a used video game for $20. That's a negative. And then he's charged a $15 overdraft fee. That's also a negative. So now I can come down here and I'm going to change the highlighter to the normal writing, and I'll make that darker, and then I'll just choose a different color besides yellow and red. And it says write a number statement. So I'm going to start with the $12 in his bank account. So he starts with a positive $12. Then he buys a used video game for $20. So that's a negative. So we could either subtract $20, or you could write this as we're adding to the positive a negative 20. Then it says, since he overdrafted his account, he is charged a $15 overdraft fee. So you could subtract another $15, or you could write this all as an addition statement and say, okay, I'm adding to this a negative number. So you could either subtract 15 or add a negative 15. Then he mows 2 neighbors' lawns, that's important, for $18 per lawn. So I could write this as plus $18 plus another $18, or I could just add 2 $18. Remember, repeated addition is the same as multiplication. So there's multiple ways you could write it. The benefit of writing an addition sign in between each piece is that we don't have to do the extra step where we change the subtraction to addition. So I'm not going to use this number statement. I'm going to use the second one that I wrote because that allows me to just go ahead and start adding them together, combining them together. So I'm going to go ahead and work with this 12 plus a negative 20. And if one's a positive and one's a negative, I can do this little trick using 0. If I know that I'm going to go to the left 20, I'm going to start over here on the far right at 12, so I have plenty of room to move to the left 20 spots. So I'm going to go down to 0 first because I know that 12 is 12 units away from 0. So I'm going to the left 12. So basically, I'm adding on the negative 12 to get to 0. Then think about it. What's the difference between 20 and 12? Well, the difference is 8. So I have to move 8 more to the left, and I end up at negative 8. So from here, 12 plus a negative 20 gave me negative 8. So I'm going to go over here and start writing negative 8. And then I am writing the rest of the problem. Now, if you can't tell, I just paused it for a second and I showed that this part right here, the 12 plus -20, became -8, and then I rewrote the rest of the problem down here. And I took the time to erase so you wouldn't have to watch me doing that. So now I'm taking -8 and I'm adding a -15. So I know that I'm going to start at -8 and then I have to go to the left 15. So I'm going to start the -8 at the far right because I know that I'm going to need space to move 15 places to the left. So I'm going to start making tally marks to show this movement. So I'm moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 places to the left is what I moved. And now I need to figure out what that number is. So I'm just going to start counting. I was at -8, now I'm at -9, -10, -11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I'm at -23. So I end up at -23. So -8 plus a -15 is -23. And then I'm going to add to that 2 times 18. Well, 18 times 2, let me multiply that really fast. 8 times 2 is 16. So I put a 6 here, carry the 1. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So I'm adding 36 to -23. So I paused the video again so that I could record my number line. I'm starting at -23 and I know I have to go far to the right. That's why I started the -23 over here on the left. So I'm going to use the trick where it's going to take me plus 23 to get back to 0. Okay, so I'm going to have to add 23 to get back to 0. Now let's find the difference between 36 and 23 to see how much further I need to move on the number line. 6 minus 3 is 3, 3 minus 2 is 1. So I need to move 13 more to the right to have moved a total of 36 to the right, because 23 and 13 is 36. And so I end up with my answer being $13. So in the end, he ends up with $13 in his account.